time.
That's fine.
I think that was Hemingway who said that first. Not sure.
Why does it not work? It plays. It's just that it doesn't move. Like it's stuck at 0 seconds. So therefore, it's not really playing, I guess.
Yeah, no, we don't hear anything if you're playing something.
Now playing, nothing. Oh no, I see Witcher.
Now playing,
it
the
says
sound
it's
of
playing.
silence.
It says it's playing, but in actuality, on Fanburst, it's at 0 seconds and not continuing forward. So therefore, it's not really playing. Just gives the illusion.
Lies. I hate when a computer program is full of dishonesty, you know?
So rude.
End him rightly. I love that. Oh, yes, please.
Just screw off the pommel and chuck it at him after like a minute.
In the German treatise, I think it's German, it actually says to end him rechtlich, which I believe is quick.
Swiftly, I think it is.
Yeah, swiftly. Let me just take a minute. Hope he's crippled enough that he lets me do it.
Well, medieval pommels would be easier to detach.
It's still a lot slower than just like ramming the blade through the bastard.
And
probably
if
have
it's a
pre-
duel, you probably have. Yeah, exactly. You can pre unscrew it and then throw it at him to make him startled.
I'm not convinced it wasn't just a troll tactic for people that were copying their manuscripts.
Yeah,
It might be. It might be. It's like modern day piracy.
While I ram you through the gut with this blade.
Yeah.
Does that make it the oldest meme running?
It might.
I have drawn 3 tarot cards.
Dun dun dun. We're all.
Oh, it's the thing where it's like you're.
Funnily enough, the first card symbolizes a reunion.
Oh.
The second card is the Fool,
I mean, accurate.
which is untapped
symbolizes the
potential.
beginning also.
It means untapped potential of
It also
mine not
symbolizes
exposed yet.
a journey.
What's the
And
future?
last, let's see this. Let's see. So it's the 6 of Cups. We have the Fool, and then the 6 of. By this deck, I think it's called the Rod or the Stab or something like that, which represents well-earned honor.
That's like soul,
Ironic.
isn't it? I was trying to remember because Cups is relationship, Swords is mind, Pentacles is material things, and then Wands are
It changes from because sometimes Pentacles means like spiritual stuff because Pentacle, demon worship. I don't know.
Well, they're coins though.
There is coin as well, yes, like the wolf.
Because I was
That's where we get about your dollars.
Security.
Different interpretations. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all reading the entrails.
yeah, it's all about reading the intros and tea leaves. Everyone knows that.
Which was actually funny. If you ever noticed, like how you'll see certain battles, if you go throughout history, and you'll see like there's this long break in time where no one attacks. And what they do is every morning at dawn, they'd sacrifice an animal and read its entrails. They're like, "Oh no, it's not the right day. We're not going to attack today." And like the other side's doing the same thing. They're like, "Not the right day."
Nah, not the right day today.
The stars.
The lamb's got to say so.
God, I forget the name of the battle. The Battle of Plataea, where basically all the Greek states had aligned against the invading Persian army.
300?
No, first off, that movie is a really, really bad representation because those dudes got
it's terribly
hammered.
accurate. There's 300 Spartans,
Practically
10,000 Athenians, and I believe another 5,000 contingent of this general.
The thing is, like, those dudes, if you read the story, there were 300 Spartans. That is a fact. I think there was 297 to be precise. But like, when the Persians sent spies to them, they were just like, "Yeah, sure, come on in our camp. Here, check us all out." The dudes are over there doing like push-ups and pull-ups and stuff. Well, they're like, "Wait, what? You're cool with that?" They're like, "Yeah, we don't care." But like, they presented as like this great struggle. Those dudes got wiped out in 3 days.
Sounds about right.
What?
When if you look at the Battle of Marathon, which is far more impressive, actually, ironically enough, where my character gets his name from, General Miltiades sent the Athenians that had the Persian army marching on them. It was called the Battle of Marathon because they had like 30 or 50,000 Persian troops. And they had like 6,000 Athenian troops.
Yeah, left over some of the battle beforehand.
Yeah, they were like, we need to go, and everyone was like, no, we can't do it. But the dude Miltiades was like, we have to go now. So these dudes get armored up, get out there in the field, sprint a mile across the battlefield to the Persians, and with a line of like 3 deep and like 3,000 long, are able to push this force that they were outnumbered 5-1 back into the ocean.
And then, if I remember correctly, there was then a massive misplay by the Persian side in regards to
Very
underestimating
much so.
Greek naval power.
Absolutely, yeah. Shoot, I'm trying to think of the
then
general.
the
Mistocles,
decisive-
that's his name.
I don't remember personally.
Yeah,
remember
it's
the-
Mistocles.
Putting the impeccable timing.
Those were the two like generals of the time. Yeah, so what they would do, basically, they Mistocles, he had their troops line up, and they did similar to a Mongol tactic from a few years later, where they had them pulled back and they funneled all these Persians into the area, and then surrounded them and just rammed them into each other.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Greek ships they can't turn very well, but they're large and sturdy versus the Persian ships. But in a place where you can't maneuver, then, if you can't move quick, it doesn't matter if I can move quick. I'll just just wreck the shit out of you.
I think they said, like, the Herodotus, who is basically like the big scholar of the time that recorded it all, said, like, I think was it the Adriatic Sea? I can't remember the exact name of the sea, but he's saying like it was red for like 3 days.
Good old Greeks.
So the Persians, actually, to their credit, their way of crossing the ocean was pretty crazy. Like, because they had to cross
a ton of ships.
Exactly. They tried a bridge and it collapsed. So they sent people there with hot brands and whips to brand the sea and whip it, and they threw manacles into the sea to tame it, if you will.
Yeah, I remember the last time I tried enslaving the sea. Yep.
And then they were like, all right, we're just going to take a bunch of ships, tie them together, and put dockings on them. And they just docked ships. It was pretty cool. But
not effective.
I mean, it worked enough to get them across. I mean, at the time, that had never been done.
Fair.
Ultimately, the Greeks were just really, really sophisticated in the way they fought.
I think after they lost, I think most of them had to walk home.
Yeah.
Because all the ships got destroyed.
Oh yeah, because adding the insult to injury, they went through and broke all their ships. Like after the battle was already won.
You had to walk all the way back from the east.
The thing is, Plataea. I can't remember the name of the naval battle, but Plataea was the other major battle that decided, which was ultimately the one that decided how the war was going to go. Which, oddly enough, most people don't know this. Like there were, I think, 2 or 3 of the Greek city-states that fought on the side of the Persians.
Traitors.
Well, I mean, so the reason is they were the ones
that
closest to the
to
Persians.
see a massive army approach and be like, yeah, we probably won't win. I'll just join your side.
Also, the Persian Empire treated their colonies like really fucking well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they want to. It's a really effective tactic. You see it amongst the Romans, the Mongols, and the
Ottomans,
Persians. Where it's, if you join with us, we'll treat you well. If you betray us, you are the worst person in the world, and you will suffer. If you deny us, you will suffer.
That was like low-key Inca as well, where it was like, hey, if you join us, like, you get to join this really, you get mail, like, you get a nice infrastructure, like, you get all this cool shit, or we could just kill you because we have, like, the largest fucking empire in this part of the country, or, like, world.
We invented health insurance just for you. It's called stabbing.
And
the Chinese
so
did the same.
look at
There's a word for this, actually. Suzerainty.
Specifically a word for this scenario.
It's happened a lot in history. That's why.
But if you look at Macedonians, who eventually conquered the Persian Empire,
Is it Macedonia?
Macedonia.
it's I mean it's
Macadamia
I think it goes either way, but in the ancient Greek, the C is pronounced with a hard sound. So Macedonians, however you want to say it, doesn't matter.
That's how you would say it in
But
Swedish as well.
the dude, Alexander, who ultimately conquered the Persian Empire, if you look
Poor
at him before he
Alexander.
died, he married a Persian wife, and he lived like a Persian.
He was dope.
So,
He also
did he
partied a
conquer
lot.
him? Sure, he conquered them, but he became them.
He took over in more
He aspired to
Similar
be a
to,
scholar king, so it's kind of hard to not be that way.
I mean, if he didn't party as much, he would have lived. Like that was ultimately what killed him. Like straight up, he partied too much, got sick after a party, and then died. And if you went back in time with like some fucking Nyquil or something, you might have actually helped convert the entire world under his rule.
Maybe.
Jeez, that's
I
a
mean,
twist.
Which is yeah, it's quite the shame, really. But to be fair, that's just his culture. His culture is very much fight hard, party hard.
Which is, I mean,
Which makes sense. They were incredibly like capable.
Checks out.
The
Yeah,
lip
I mean,
from his
it's-
liver.
That's a bad one.
Give me some death in chat, please.
if you look at Kublai Kai, he did the same thing after he conquered the Song Empire, or the
party
Song
hard.
Dynasty. I mean, no, he instead of living like a Mongol, he started.
Oh yeah, he lived like
Chinese.
a Chinese monarch.
Yeah, exactly. I think
That was actually one of the
kind of-
major criticisms, I believe, of his own kind. That like, why are you
Yeah.
acting like them? You're one of us.
Exactly, and I forget they actually became a Chinese dynasty. I can't remember the name of it. Fred, you know, but
I don't have that one in my head actually.
The Chinese guy has to reference the guy in Sweden for Chinese history.
Ain't that America?
More.
U.S. Hey,
Yuan. It's the Yuan dynasty. That's
Yuan
what it's
dynasty.
Oh yes.
Indeed. A just
Yeah.
monocle. Indeed.
called. It's
Oh, yes, I knew
Um,
that. I was just testing you.
a lot of the credit, like Napoleon gets, he just used really crappy Mongol tactics.
Not surprising.
Like that's all he did. Like I think a lot of like
Which is
war
really
history-
weird, considering how that the Mongols actually did reach Europe. You would have figured someone would have thought about
they
it.
were
A long time ago, to be fair, though.
just most people. The Mongols get a really bad rap as being barbarians, but they were very very sophisticated. Like
They
maybe
were-
not in culture, but in military tactics, they were centuries ahead of their time.
No, yeah, this is my favorite word that I learned in a class like last year. It's what describes the Nevros. Pastoralist is the word. It describes nomadic tribes that are just there to fuck shit. If you play Civilization, the video game, they're those roaming assholes that just attack shit. Yeah,
They just
but
keep
unlike
popping up and doing my
Civilization,
trade
they're
routes.
very good. Like, you're right, culturally not as great, but they're often the ones that develop the best military tactics, military technology. Yeah, those sorts of people are the ones that invented the javelin, which is why the
mean-
Nevros have them.
It's funny if you look at the battle that happened between Russia and Germany pre-World War II or in the World War II era. The manual the Russians used to repel the German invasion was based off of Mongol tactics.
It makes sense considering how Mongolia is like
Well,
occupying
makes
a large chunk of the border.
I'll say it makes a lot of sense because the Russians were the Europeans that got hit the hardest and were
By
conquered
Mongols
by-
constantly.
It doesn't surprise me though, because the nomadic lifestyle and the way they live lends itself to that. You just have
they're
to,
like-
It's ingrained in their culture that
Yeah.
it's not like our culture where killing is bad. No, to them it's like, yeah, go fuck shit up. Yeah, go kill them. Yeah.
yeah,
so
you have
just
the
come
same
back.
pattern in Viking society or Norse society at the time as well, because you needed the boats, otherwise you'd be fucked. So if you didn't know how to build a boat on the spot, if you didn't know how to traverse quickly across the sea, you'd be
Fuck.
ganked pretty quick. Yeah, and they also
and
had
they're-
too much time on their hands. There's not enough farmland. So what do you do with young, bull-headed young men?
Go raid.
You go raid. You go pillage.
Yeah.
and then for
I-
honor.
You know,
Not really.
Let's stab a guy.
Not really.
I'm so bummed they never put like a Mongol style faction in that, which makes sense.
They,
'cause
they
they're-
put the Chinese faction in it recently.
They did. And I mean, it makes sense because they're horse archers, so it doesn't really equate to.
Yeah. that's where your ability is. You go on a horse and then you ride around the fucking.
Come on, man. What is this?
I can't catch up to it. What the fuck am I supposed to be?
I know. That's the point.
I
You're not.
allow it, but only if you had to manually aim the bow as you're going up and down on the horse. If that happened, then I'd be okay with it. It'd be a
I
fun
think-
game mode.
I think a lot of like the Mongol army would have never lost had they not destroyed themselves from the end.
They settled down. That was their problem.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what you're saying. Because
Yeah.
there's Genghis Khan when he died, or Genghis, I think is how they actually pronounce it. And his general Subutai, they said, "Don't settle down. Don't live in the cities.
Just
Like,
keep rocking.
don't do it. You'll lose what it means to be a Mongol."
And then they did.
Yeah.
And
Which
then
I
they
mean,
did.
thankfully they did. If we're
Sure.
not,
Never
but-
stopped.
If I remember correctly, early in the Mongol history, they actually divided into 2 or 3 separate factions. One went directly west, made it to Europe. One went west and then
Golden-
south towards the Middle East, and then
Golden
one
Company,
just stayed
they're
in
called?
Central Asia.
Yeah, the
I
I
believe
think it was called the
they're
Golden
called the
Company.
Green Mongols and then like the Black Mongols and stuff like that. I don't remember the colorations.
Yeah,
I remember the
one-
one in China was called the Black ones though.
the one that went into Egypt actually got defeated, but that was because
Yeah.
the Mongol Empire was fractured at that point.
The ones that stayed in China eventually got conquered by the Chinese and subjugated under Chinese rule. Something they would come to regret when they rebelled. Competently rebelled, I should say.
It's hard to say. Like I wonder where Iraq would have been hadn't it not been for the Mongols.
Mm.
Because at the time they were essentially the most advanced civilization on Earth.
But then the
But
Mongols
when-
came in.
Well, exactly. The Mongols, when they sieged Baghdad, they literally burnt all the libraries. They destroyed the
Yeah, I mean, that
aqueducts. Like
Yeah, we don't need that shit. We're not here for long.
exactly, they were very smart in the way they did it because they said,
It
if
was
we do
scorched
this,
earth policy, isn't it?
China
yeah,
was also-
essentially.
I mean, kids
China
are
had, a
moving.
China had a similar
Well-
situation for a long time as well. They had naval supremacy that they never used, and then they're like, "Nah, why do we
Oh
need
yeah,
to go
then
over
they
there for?"
stagnated. And
Then they
just-
stagnated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did I
And the-
tell you the story about the draft in China? It's hilarious. Or it's not
Oh,
hilarious,
yeah.
it's very coincidental.
Was that giraffe? Was that Tang Dynasty?
I don't. I believe so. But I could be wrong.
What's her name?
All right. So to those of you that don't know the story, so as you know, China had this major naval superiority thing. They started They started going around the world well before Europe did. And at the time, Chinese folklore, there would be indicated that China was the most powerful nation in the world. It would be described, or if you see this creature, for this heavenly creature, that's the good. That's a thumbs up. They traveled around the world and stumbled into Africa. What was this mythical creature, you may ask? Why, it's a very long-necked horse of some sort. So when the Chinese got to Africa and saw a giraffe, they're like, "Oh shit, we did it!" And then they brought the giraffe back to mainland China, and then all was well in the world, and then China closed off its ways and then stagnated, and then yeah, they were the most powerful at the time, but that doesn't mean they kept it. Unfortunate.
Basically, they just lost their shit out over their new pet
Yeah.
and just kind of obsessed over it.
Which it's really ironic because they didn't colonize in the way Europeans did, but they did go to places and whoever was ruling there was like, okay, look, fucker. It's the same thing as what we were just talking about. Hey, look, fucker, you gotta pay us tribute and you can live as a vassal. You have to
I
come
don't care if
directly
you-
to mainland China to deliver the tribute, whoever's in charge, and then bow before the emperor, or we can wipe you the fuck out.
Yeah,
It's your
I don't
choice.
care if you rule your country. I don't want to rule it, but you're going to pay me. I
Basically,
don't know if you
they've
realize,
run,
but this is my land.
I believe that
What's it
he
called?
took
Practice.
7 expeditions out into the
Insurance
world.
brackets.
Was there 7?
I think it was 7. Yeah.
It was an odd number, I remember. It's like 7 or 9.
What does
Ironically,
Wikipedia?
like
Dynasty Warriors.
the Chinese in the early 13th century were already using gunpowder.
Yep.
Like that didn't come around in Europe for another 400 years.
It's interesting because
He made his way through the Silk Road. if I
all
remember correctly.
civilizations that were built on expansionistic ideas eventually collapsed when there was nowhere else to expand. I guess one of the arguments for China is they never did that, so they've managed to persist because they decided to build on other things than expansionism.
Well, yeah, they eventually just sort of isolated themselves. So the opposite of expansionistic ideals at that point. Just stay at home.
And you got to think a lot of those expansions worked because they had a charismatic leader behind them. And once that guy disappeared, it all fell apart.
Fair.
It's like you can expand, and if you have a good, strong leader behind you, the good's a real loose term for what I'm describing.
But I want to say what makes the provinces and this entire world of mine so unrealistic is that not every country, most countries have a strong line of competent leaders. That does not happen in real history. You get like 2, maybe 3 competent leaders before it just goes to shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the thing with the Mongols. Like you see the difference between the Macedonians and the Mongols. As soon as Alexander fell, it went to crap. As soon as Attila fell, it went to crap. Like they just fall apart.
Crash, have you heard about the story of the first emperor's son, Huhai? He was told by one of the eunuchs that, was it a deer? I think it was a deer. And they brought it into court and said, look at this horse. And he had to, everyone said it was a horse. So obviously the deer was a horse.
I've never heard this story.
Let me find it. It's
I just realized, by the way,
Oh,
it's like,
I know what story you're talking about.
We've been talking for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about it's all the yes men, and the one guy said that's not a horse, and he promoted him.
Is that the story?
I think if that's the one you're referring to, can't remember who that refers to. Wasn't that Cao Cao, or however you pronounce it?
Cao
Cao Cao. There was Huhai is the son of the first emperor, and Zhao Gao, the eunuch, was doing sort of like a power display, a power grab, if you will, and to show his power, to the court, he got the emperor essentially to say that this deer is not a deer, it's a horse.
Wow, that is not the story I'm thinking of.
I mean, maybe it might be like derived from it, like making it like a different twist on the story. We should really start playing though.
Probably.
Playing what?
I've been being very productive during this time, and I'm working on
Hey,
student
we're
loan
talking.
stuff.
This is podcast like old school military stuff. But before I do that, I told you all I'd be using this Critical Role Tarot deck of Major Arcana, so let's just. I've been shuffling this whole time. Might as well.
We're shuffling
Alright,
for an
let's
hour. The
start
cards
off-
are now dust.
I wish. Let's start with Aldrich, shall we? Just go down the Discord list.
All right.
Oh, the irony.